拍几张，超拍几张，差不多整个反。
It's been more than a year since I arrived home. I can now no longer look at a world map and not see a 15,000 kilometre route across it. I rode through 19 countries, starting from Giant's Kunshan city factory, a little west of Shanghai. All of this before the pandemic, when I could strap bags to a bicycle and ride from one side of the globe to the other. Home to the terracotta warriors, Xi'an is where I began my journey along the Silk Road, a network of ancient trading routes connecting the east to the west. I would cycle as far as I could each day, and as it got dark, set up camp by the side of the road, sleeping in a bivvy bag, no tent. I was lucky with only a few rain days over the entire trip. Using highways with a large hard shoulder, and not a huge amount of roads to choose from, navigation was easy in China, and the surface was excellent too. I would use Google Translate and sign language to communicate. I crossed the border into Kazakhstan and took a day off in Almaty, spending the day eating food and soaking in the public baths. I didn't stay in Kazakhstan for long. I decided on a detour, which took me along the Pamir Highway, considered to be the second highest international highway in the world. The highest point standing at 4,655 metres above sea level. The highway began on the other side of Kyrgyzstan, in a place called Osh.
Another cold morning on the Pamir Highway. I stayed in a homestay last night, so it was nice and cosy, and I got lots of food. Had 2 bowls of porridge this morning and lots of bread and jam. And today I'm going up to the highest point on the Pamir Highway, which is about 4,600 metres. So that'll be interesting. And then it's pretty much downhill the whole way to Dushanbe, with a few peaks in the way, but generally downhill.
I was now cycling on the roof of the world, and with a combination of high altitude, strong wind and rough road surfaces, it was slow going, but spectacular. This remote highway was where I had most of my encounters with other cycle tourists, and the kindness of locals in this region was incredible, inviting you into the warmth and offering you food with no payment wanted. After the high altitude, I started to descend towards the Panj River, the natural border between Afghanistan and Tajikistan.
I've now been riding along the Afghanistan border for just shy of 400 kilometers, and I've got a totally different viewpoint on Afghanistan now. My viewpoint before was what you see on the news, all the desert and the fighting that goes on. But what I've seen along the border is nothing but just huge mountains and quaint little isolated villages that are set next to waterfalls down the mountain, just green in the oasis of barren rock, which is pretty spectacular. I'm heading now to Dushanbe, which will be the end point of the Pamir Highway. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter of my journey.
As old as Rome, Samarkand is one of the most important cities along the Silk Road, being at the crossroads of world cultures. I had bought a drone in Shanghai and used it to document my journey. I found out that in Uzbekistan, drones are banned and worst case could lead to a 3-year prison sentence. I hid it at the bottom of one of my panniers and hoped for the best. I'm now back in Kazakhstan. I've basically just had a diet of bread and tomato sauce, so I'm looking forward to get to the Caspian Sea, which is about 320 kilometers away now, and the food should improve when I get over there and then into Turkey. I've heard it's pretty good. And also it's been very cold here in the desert. Everyone I've spoke to, other cycle tourists, have said it's been really warm, but I've found it to be pretty cold, and especially at night. So tonight I'm going to be camping in this abandoned house that I climbed in, opened the door, so it should be a bit warmer in there, and then be able to set off a bit earlier, because when you're cold in the mornings it's hard to get out your sleeping bag. With difficulties getting into Iran, I decided to cross the Caspian Sea on a freight ship, crossing from Kazakhstan to Azerbaijan. Georgia was the first country I began to see the signs of autumn, with the trees changing colour, and with winter fast approaching, I could not dawdle, not wanting to get caught in any bad weather in Europe. Route across Turkey was to hug the Black Sea coast all the way to Istanbul.
I'm currently riding into Istanbul.
After a day's riding, there is nothing better than a Turkish hammam to relax and recuperate. From Budapest, I followed the signed Eurovelo cycleway along the Danube, except for a brief detour into the Austrian Alps. The kindness of strangers throughout my trip was incredible. with people offering me food and inviting me into their homes. China had some world-class bike paths, but it was only now in Austria, Germany, Luxembourg and finally the Netherlands that I was able to ride on some more. For the last few days of the trip, my dad cycled out to ride with me. Before cycling to the DFDS Seaways ferry, bound for Newcastle, we rode to the home of Giant Europe in Lelystad in the Netherlands. Frank Veltman, second in command at the Giant HQ, who showed us around and then cycled with us to Almere, en route to Amsterdam. Four months, 15,000 kilometres and 19 countries.
Back in Newcastle, 1 kilometre away from home. Feels good.